This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 2, well, into a VOD from a stream that RA2 Cash Games, aka Ivor, invited me to. So big thanks to him for putting all of this together and for lining up these games and then also inviting me on to the stream. If you want to check out some RA2 action, check out his stuff. It'll be linked in the description. And let's jump into the games.
All right, looking smooth. Here we go. Blitz World Series action coming at you here again in the Pro Division. We got Zedd fighting out of Algeria in red on the left, facing off against Ossama in yellow, fighting out of, I forget, is Ossama out of Jordan? I forget. Anyway, both guys here also in the Pro Division, but compared to that game, Marco vs. Legend, those are two of the top pros. These are kind of the lower division pros, so still great players at the game, but we'll see, a little bit lower division, so it should give you a different look here, Sybert. So what do you say, now you've seen the map play a little bit, any specific kind of keys to victory, things that are standing out to you, Sybert?
I'm really curious because you said most players focus on the south side, the tech power plant and the oil derrick that you start with, but we saw Marco and Legend kind of shifting to a north side focus, going for those tech machine shops as points of interest. And I wonder if these guys will do the same thing or if they're going to be more south side focused.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, and as you say that, we already see the shift kind of more towards the top side. You know, throughout the month, we start with the lower divisions. We work through Division 6, Division 5, Division 4. The lower divisions were all on the bottom, but then towards the end of the month, when we move on to the pros, oftentimes the meta, the way the map plays, completely flips on its head. And yeah, it looks like these guys are favoring the top side a little bit more here.
One war factory up there, one war factory in the middle, but it's two war factories for Zedd, at least for now. We'll see when Pepe drops his other one. Ossama,
yeah. Sorry.
The mismatch is throwing me. All right, second war factory up for Ossama, so now it's 2-2.
Yep, so now the war factory's evened out. Both players their fodder and just dancing a little bit more here. Neither player really willing to try to take that first bite, push into a sentry gun. Zedd with a lot of proactive sentry guns here. Possible he's maybe trying to push early tech. It's a pretty turtled position and a lot of money to spend on sentry guns if he's not looking to try to delay the early game.
The dance near the middle continues as, I don't know if that's me lagging or just the combination of the four of us together.
Yeah, I would say it's more than likely it's the combination of the two of them together. These guys are not particularly known for lightning fast, consistent internet speeds, although I had asked them politely how their internet was doing today before this game, but yeah, this is pretty rough.
I guess we'll see when the slideshow eventually crashes into each other what the result is. It's going to be difficult to focus fire down tanks, so maybe having the sentry guns up early is going to be a huge advantage for Zedd.
Yeah, the meta changes when you start playing a slideshow. It's a little bit different.
We got 60 frames per second, and 59 of them are the same frame.
Yep, and it looks, sometimes we do get it to even out just a little bit here. It does seem to be picking up just a bit. We can We can forgive their lack of action and their dancing. They are still macroing behind this, so they're still progressing behind this. They're just not engaging with their units, which is understandable given the momentary connection problems we had. Yep, it can feel a little bit like flipping coins when you engage with this kind of lag, so neither player really wanting just to roll the dice. I like this move from both players building as close as they can down here. I put all these bumps to prevent players from building in the bottom section, but players find like little single cells to put sentry guns to try to hold that position. Nice move from both players there. Desolators and a Battle Lab out now from Ossama, so Ossama on Battle Lab tech. See, might go Kirov here. There is actually enough room for a naval yard as well.
Ooh, a little bit of dancing near the crates. Iron Curtain gets placed for Ossama, so he's got that. And also a naval yard. Not something I thought we'd see. Drones are here. Terror drones going to be getting thrown into the mix. Desos are already on the front line, though, for Ossama. And for now, it's just a bit of a push and the push back.
Yeah, and those desolators, Zedd heavy drones here is kind of interesting. He's kind of it's kind of like a drug you get hooked on. Once you start building drones, it's hard to switch back over to tanks. So he needs to get some kind of offensive value behind it, like a Kirov. But and the dreadnought is out.
It only gets.
Oh, that dreadnought gets sunk though. Okay.
Two volleys. Two volleys is enough to take down the machine shop. Deso's getting cleaned up by the terror drones, and they're going to get cleaned up by the sentries eventually. And there's the Kirov that you were referencing. Finally out onto the field and slowly making its way over. So These guys may not be as good as Legend and Marco, but we never got to see a Kirov in that last match.
Yeah, it's fun to see. Sometimes, you know, the slight lower levels, it does allow for some more creativity, this tech push, the naval yards. So the Kirov to clean out the naval yard, and now Zedd is going to get his own dreadnought out, I think, here. And Ossama with another naval yard right behind it.
40 seconds or 30 seconds on the clock for that Iron Curtain, but 2.5 minutes on the clock for Zedd's Iron Curtain. War Factory in the north gets eliminated. Machine Shop might be the next target, as now the Dreadnought is out, and it is getting hit by a squid immediately as it spawns in, so Ossama was ready for that Dreadnought. Iron Curtain gets popped, only 3 tanks get caught in it, and is Zedd just going to go for it? He just commits to the attack and goes all in.
He sends it downfield, but Ossama had some drones waiting for him. Ossama pulls the drones off, and Zedd, if Zedd dives on this MCV, he'll lose his entire army here. He's going to lose it anyway, though.
Gets caught in the corner, and now it's going to be drones and delay tactics from Zedd. How long can he delay the rhinos of Ossama to build back his own army?
Yep, and he wanted to try to Iron Curtain. Oh, he has an Iron Curtain.
Ooh.
Oh, so he Iron Curtain's a few tanks, and he's going to hold off this attack, and I don't think Ossama's going to get any value out of this. Wow, nice defense there.
That is about as good of a situation as you could have asked for. The tank numbers switching back and forth. The squid still going ham on those dreadnoughts in the water, stopping them from really being effective at all. Iron Curtain getting targeted down. Rhinos finally finding a kill on the enemy structure, and now is he going to go for the MCV after that, or the War Factory instead? It's the MCV, and Zedd's going to get 2 building kills, but he's going to lose everything?
The IC and the MCV, now he just needs to do a little bit of damage control and clean up some of these tanks from Ossama so he doesn't get counterpunched here. You're going to see Zedd pull back, just try to hold this position. He's up in MCV, he's up in Iron Curtain. He just wants to slow things down, but he doesn't have any drones, and he's pumping Kirovs. Ossama could get some value here.
This is the opportunity with the Dreadnoughts getting cleaned up, and the Kirov's going to take a while to cross the map. This is the chance for Ossama to come in here, but he's only got 3 tanks left, 4 tanks left. He's going for the MCV, and there's going to be the shield to keep it alive.
Shield.
I assumed you had removed the shield from this version of the game, but no.
Yeah, so we didn't, we just weren't seeing it. You know, both Legend and Marco in that last game, neither of them. Oh, he still gets that MCV. Oh, the second wave of tanks got that MCV. Is going to save the Iron Curtain, though. And now, okay, so I would love to see Zedd support these Kirovs, send those drones from the top side into these flak tracks and try to get some value.
What a confusing mess this has turned into. The Kirovs getting cleaned up in the middle of the map, but the Dreadnoughts getting held off by the flak cannon. And there were a couple of desos from Ossama that had made their way into the base of Zedd, but finally they got cleaned up. Iron Curtain on the Terror Drones, going to be going for the Rhinos, going to be able to get an infect on a couple of them. 2, 3 of them, maybe?
That should slow down that wave, and now so Zedd's going to go in while those tanks are droned. So now he's going to, what's the move here? Oh, look at these engineers. The engineers repairing the nuclear reactor. Oh my God, that worked.
I could not believe that. He actually, the 1 Tesla coil actually saved that. Terror drones are here to infect a couple of rhinos of Zedd, and the flak cannons are not enough to hold off the Dreadnoughts. Slowly but surely, Zedd seems to be making headway here. It has been chaotic and it has been costly, but it looks like he will do it.
Yep, and so now the nuclear reactor is down, and now the Desolator to try to counter. Zedd needs to try to protect these Dreadnoughts. I don't think Ossama really has a winning move anyway, but the Dreadnoughts are certainly the nail in the coffin here. But man, what a what a mess. But Zedd takes it home.
GG gets called. Ossama, wow, that game had everything. A boring start because of lag, into Kirovs, into Iron Curtains, into just about everything in the Soviet arsenal.
Okay, look like happy dogs to me. Okay, so Allied versus Allied now. That first point, pretty hard to call. Seemed like which way the wind blew at the end went in Zedd's favor, but well played by both players. Now over to Allied. See what if Ossama can put one on the board here.
An absolutely manic game, and I would not be surprised if this series doesn't, if Zedd doesn't manage to turn out a 3-0. It seemed like these two guys are very evenly matched. We'll see as it progresses into, maybe Zedd is just better with allies, but it seems like it's a very even match between these two.
Yeah, these guys have been at each other's throats for a long time. Definitely in a similar division in that kind of lower pro bracket here. So allied versus allied, though, it's usually kind of who's playing the map more. The traditional skills go out the window a little bit more. Map strategy comes in. Ossama going to get a little cheesy here. He brings the Navy SEAL. Oh, and he gets the
he gets the War Factory as well.
Oh, I'm mixing up the names again. Sorry, that was Zedd with the Navy SEAL. I mixed the sides are throwing me off. So with the Navy SEAL, the oil and the War Factory, but Ossama pushing in here with a nice group of Grizzlies and GIs. Wow.
This was so great from Ossama right at the beginning, getting those couple of GIs and a couple of Grizzlies to break down the wall, and then the Grizzlies can go off of that, off of that attack and just leave the GIs there. A little bit of lag getting introduced here, may disappear just like it did in that last game. But already a great opening for both players. I guess it's better for Ossama, but losing that War Factory is never fun early on.
Yeah, losing the War Factory is tough, and he lost an oil with it as well. So Zedd with that nice Navy SEAL opening. Now, the problem with that Navy SEAL from Zedd is it's expensive. That early AFC is expensive, the Navy SEAL's expensive, and so it did cost him. And now you see Zedd's economy struggling a little bit here, and when you start bottoming out, okay, his economy's catching up a little bit. So now Rockies bottom side, those Rockies are going to get, that's sad. Rockies are expensive. You don't want to lose those like that.
Oh, Ossama going to be losing the barracks. And Ossama able to defend in the north. He won't be losing his tech machine shop, at least not just yet.
Yeah, so does counter off. Yeah, and yeah, so this is a problem on the back end here. Zedd up with that AFC, those Eagles. It's going to be so hard for Ossama to try to get his AFC out, try to get tech going. He's just going to keep bombing that barracks. It's tough. It's going to be tough for Ossama to advance here. And now Zedd with the early battle lab.
This is a great development by Zedd to go for that just continual bombing from the Black Eagles, and I guess we'll see. He's got his gap generator, which is a funny thing to rush for, but I guess we'll see.
Wants to hide his hand. Maybe we're going to see some more tricky business from him here. So Ossama. It's a tough spot for Ossama. That AFC is just going to get bombed out. Ossama's actually not that far behind right now. Ossama could consider pushing here. I just don't, as this moves into a mid-game, I just think he's going to get so far behind on macro, things are going to get worse. And with the Mirage tanks already out, that window of opportunity may be closed for Ossama, now in a very, very tough spot.
Zedd taking some damage early on, but maybe he'll be the one to finish it out. Yeah, Mirages go deep into the middle of the map. And, well, in the south, it does look like the tech power plant survives.
Oh, and bad pathing there. Bad tank control from Ossama. 3 of those tanks went around the water the wrong way. Oh, and Ossama gets his Eagles out. Zedd should have never allowed that AFC. That AFC should not be alive right now. Zedd should have taken that out. And Ossama clawing his way back into this.
Well, I guess a battle lab for a battle lab in this case. Second War Factory gets established, but it's going to be the tech power plant that pays the price in the south. Ossama finally at 2 War Factories. He has been struggling to get his feet underneath him.
Yeah, and Zedd, some people in the chat at the beginning of this game mentioning it. Zedd, one of his weaknesses is that he's not always as quite as willing to drop the hammer as he needs to be. And in these games, when there's a window of opportunity, if you don't capitalize on it, you let a player come back into it, they can surprise you and they can come back. And it can be very unfortunate. We've seen it from Zedd before. I think there was some more chances he could have been taking, but he's sitting back a little bit instead, trying to push a little bit on the top side.
Yeah, he's been posturing near that machine shop for a while and hasn't been able to get anything done with it. Once again, tanks into the middle of the map. Black Eagles going for another strike, and they get the AFC. No secondary one from Zedd.
Yep, AFC goes down. This little army that Zedd is putting together here is a bit scary. These Prism tanks are tough in this position. The range is so nasty. They are fragile, though. If Ossama can send some Rockies in, or maybe use his Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles to target the Prisms. Very nice.
All right, that's actually working. 2 of them down. A third one about to pop. Oh, nope, not quite. But Mirages and Grizzlies going to be re-engaging on the Ossama side, and he's going for every single Prism, every single Mirage, and that's a clean sweep. That's like a complete cleanup.
Oh my God! So now you have to remember, everyone in the chat. Ossama just went in blind there. That was gapped, so he didn't know what he was pushing into. There's quite a few IFVs there. He needs to be careful. His Rockies are definitely in trouble. Takes a power plant.
Oh my gosh, is he still going to get the MCV? He gets it even with the shield, locking it down, and one Grizzly survives the fight for a couple of moments. But there, Zedd finally clears out his base. He finally makes himself secure, and is it counterpunch time?
Counterpunch coming, and the IFVs are not the offensive tool you want, but when your opponent has nothing, sometimes they're the offensive tool that can get it done. So Ossama, which went low power, so I believe... So he is gapped up, but now low power. So Zedd's still comfortable sitting back here. And right now, the juicer on Zedd's side is that Battle Lab. If it goes down...
Zedd loses the Battle Lab.
No more Prism tanks for Zedd now. So let's see if Ossama can just hold this position.
All right, Tech Oil Derrick in the south goes down, and it's going to be a Battle Lab trade for a Battle Lab trade. That heroic IFV is insane. That guy does so much damage.
The elite IFVs, I'm pretty sure there's something broken in the code. They're just like so funny. They do so much work.
The Black Eagles striking back. Ossama finds the kill on the War Factory, reducing it down to 2 War Factory versus 2 War Factory once again.
Yep, and so Zedd's just got a few buildings left, so Ossama just needs to hit these Eagles, just keep chipping away. So right now, if Zedd loses that barracks, no more Rockies. If he loses the AFC, no more Eagles. So just building by building, but he's going to go for the War Factories. Basically, tanks matter here, so he's going to try to take out those War Factories. The ball is in Zedd's court. Let's see if he can try to push through here.
Double speed buff there. Prism on the front line. Rocky's going to be coming in to support. This might be the last all-in hit from Zedd. Rocky's going to be committing to the attack. Prism tanks on the edge, trying to whittle down the army of Ossama, and it's working for now. Black Eagles move back out. IFVs tear them down, and it's going to be the Prism slowly moving in, just picking this army apart, and Ossama seems to be able to do nothing in return. The fight is going to finally start in the south, and the IFVs commit to the fight, but it looks like Zedd is still coming out ahead.
And Ossama with nothing left, and Zedd doesn't have a War Factory. Zedd doesn't have a War Factory left.
It is down to the wire. These two guys ended up in an extremely awkward position. It felt like Ossama had everything going for him, but it's going to be a 2-0 lead for Zedd.
Yep, and
oh my gosh. Mr.
Wow.
Cash Games, I don't know if my heart can take it.
That was that one. Ossama, that's one of those ones that you watch the replay and you get pretty upset about. Ossama definitely had some ways to hold that position, but he made some heroic offensive punches there to take the MCV, and then at the end, he did get his Eagles down. Zedd didn't have a War Factory left, so that was all Zedd had left, but a really beautiful play at the end there. Zedd threw his Rockies in front and took out a ton of Ossama's tanks, clearing space for those Prisms. Very, very well played.
Once again, it's a 2-0 in the map score, but it doesn't feel like a 2-0. Both of these games have been extremely back and forth, extremely close, extremely even.
Yep, and it could have gone either way with just a couple different decisions. But yeah, I mean, hats off to both players so far here. So now Allied versus Soviet. Ossama also, like all top-level players, there's very few who would say they're more comfortable with Allied. Some of them might try to be a little cocky and say they don't care which faction they get, but almost all of them are going to be more comfortable with Soviet. So Ossama is going to get his more preferred faction here. But Zedd is a trickster, and he plays Blitz well. He's going to bring the GIs here on the bottom and try to get some value early on with those.
It's looking like a very similar opening to that last game. The pressure on the Tech Power Plant, the pressure on the Tech Oil Derrick in the south. The dog did slow that down a little bit, but it's going to be return pressure from Ossama. The pillbox will delay this in the north.
A little late on the repair on that pillbox. Could have got some more value out of that. He's a little too focused on this power plant on the bottom side. Both pillboxes not repaired. Makes a big difference. And the lag kicking off even earlier this time.
I mean, this is just, this is part of the game. You have to go through the first 2 minutes, and then the lag clears up, and the rest of the match is fantastic. But that's the price you pay.
Oh, yep. Yeah, it's an unfortunate part of the game. So double pillboxes top side. We'll see if we can slow that down.
Double sentry gun bottom side. As the Tech Power Plant survives for now, it's going to be Grizzlies and GIs getting caught there, and triple pillbox gets added on to the north. Eventually the Rhinos will back away, but they've broken down the walls at least, which means they can come back and hit that Tech machine shop a little bit later. Ooh, power plant did go down in the south.
And so this is a position where when we've seen when players come heavy on the bottom like this, the GIs, the Grizzlies are out of position. Yeah, you look to send it downfield here. Ossama should be looking to send it down. He just needs to stay away from the pillboxes, click down the Grizzlies. Instead, decides to engage the pillboxes. He could probably click down these Grizzlies here and potentially close out this game.
Go for the Grizzlies. All right, he's on the backside of the MCV. Going to be trading out against the Grizzlies extremely favorably. Another pillbox does go down. A couple of reinforcements coming in. Goes for the War Factory. Going to be able to get the War Factory cell. But there's no more Grizzlies. It's going to be a tough hold for Ossama. Or for Zedd.
Oh, yep. I know the
Now I just did it.
We should keep the sides the same. Sybert, I've been doing this for 18 months. You were the one who made me realize. I actually do it quite a bit in the stream as well. So Ossama does put one on the board here. Point number 4 here. Now Zedd with Soviet and Ossama with Allied. And Allied on this map, like we've talked about, struggles versus Soviet. The Rhinos are just so strong. We'll see what Ossama can pull out here. And Zedd with a pretty passive opening for Soviet to bring a bunker, and it looks like he's going to play a little defensive here.
Yeah, the battle bunker basically before anything else. Ossama going, I assume, Grizzlies and GIs along the south side of the map. We'll see exactly where he wants to put pressure, but you're right. We might be in for a bit of a turtle fest, a bit of a, hoping for Dreadnoughts and Kirovs to win the game later.
Yeah, this is a little bit conservative here, and it's the scary part of being conservative is that you give up this tech on the bottom. Like I said, you can't build sentries. Well, in this case, you can if you base walk, but it's difficult. You can't build off the tech building, so generally it's and a very, very good play there from Ossama. He's going to get the power plant. Nice. And that's exactly what you want for the Allied player, trying to slow down the Soviet.
Very nice. A little bit of damage done and forces a response. I'm not sure exactly where Zedd wanted to place his early oils, but probably not way out in front like that. We'll see if that ends up being a problem for him. A couple of tanks taking some damage, or at least one tank taking a bit of damage from the Eagle.
Yeah, the Eagles, that's a nice move. Very technical move here from the Allied player, using the Eagles to harass those Rhinos early on. Obviously, the Grizzlies are just pretty much made of paper compared to Rhinos, so if you can use the Eagles, get some of those Rhinos to half health, it can make a big difference in the first engagement.
Oh, Eagle gets a flak as well, but yeah.
Loses the Eagle, though. Rough early on, really, really hard on your economy, and that's ultimately the story of Allied in Blitz, is the early economy, because there's so many things you want. You want your Eagles, you want your sniper, you want fodder, you want Rockies, you want everything, and it's tough to not go broke, and we are seeing Ossama start to go broke. Ooh, battle lab from Ossama. His economy is going to be in a tough spot, I think.
Yeah, very quick battle lab. It's going to be a second War Factory up top in the north from Zedd. So once again, the difference between these two guys. One guy going a little bit technical, a little bit goofy. We'll see if it plays off or if it pays out, because is that a Navy SEAL inside of that IFV?
I think it's a sniper, actually. So yeah, so they do have all their faction bonuses. So it's weird to see the Eagles with a sniper.
Right.
But yeah, it's Yep, and only pays 1 Eagle for that, so that's good value there. That sniper IFV is nice. It's going to clean out Zedd's fodder, keeps those dogs from being in the mix and absorbing damage. That can make a big difference. And now Mirages and Ossama. I questioned Ossama's economy here, and he has not been bottoming out. Wow.
He's barely keeping himself afloat.
Yep, and now with 2 AFCs, these Eagles are going to start going to work, and the Mirages are the perfect counter for these Rhinos. Finally, that's the point in the game when the Allied player can finally start to hang a little bit. It's still a lot of Rhinos, though.
A lot of Rhinos are going to be committing into the attack. Paradrop is going to be coming in, so Ossama will be able to hold the line with the defenses, but he may not even need them as his tanks are pressing forward into the middle of the map. MCV packs up to try and dodge those Eagles, and dodge he does, but the tanks can't dodge those shots.
Yep, the tanks go down, so Ossama ahead on the land battle, but Zedd is able to save the MCV. That could have been the end of the game right there, and Ossama paid a lot of Eagles for it, but Ossama now still pressing in, cleaning out, going to work with these Mirages right now.
The sentry gun's definitely buying some extra time here for Zedd's tanks. I mean, his tanks are stronger in general, but the sentry gun just makes it a more, even more extreme proposition. Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah, the beautiful sentry guns and the lag there. That's one of those ones that's very frustrating for the players. When you feel like you're trapped in those positions, theoretically, there's an equal amount of lag on the sentry guns shooting as there is you leaving, but it's very frustrating for the players to be in that position and hit lag and not be able to get their units to safety. So Zedd was able to stuff that attack, and we'll see if Ossama can gear up and bring some more here.
Ossama able to take advantage of that moment, and he gets the tech machine shop in the north. So he dived on the flak cannons, or the flak tracks earlier, and so there was an opening where Zedd just didn't have a lot of anti-air. He's got a lot more now. He's going to trade out a couple of Eagles before he even gets to the target. The Battle Lab survives, and every single Eagle goes down.
Oof, and you feel that one. It's hard even if you're cheering for Zedd, it's hard to not feel a little bad on that one. You hate to see that many Eagles go down with no value. Oof, oof, oof. Very, very tough.
Well, the Kirov is making its way across. The first Dreadnought is out as well, but it gets cleaned up extremely quickly. Kirov isn't going to get much value either. And Flak, what is that Flak track doing?
That was a flag.
He was just hanging out behind the naval yard, just like shooting it.
Yeah.
One
we've enabled rogue mode. Rogue mode, every like 1 in 1,000 units just goes rogue. It just goes crazy. And a squid out to counter as well. So Zedd has a squid and a dreadnought. The dreadnought goes down, and Ossama doing a great job countering here. Now there is a squid to take. Yeah, a squid's going to take the that aircraft carrier.
I have never seen Mirages fight Dreadnoughts before. I did not realize how quickly Dreadnoughts die to Mirages. It's just like an insta-kill. Dolphins finally coming out for Ossama.
Yeah, it's not a matchup you see very often, but the Mirages just have such good anti-vehicle armor. So they, but I was just thinking that as well. The Dreadnought's just melting.
It's just like literally disappearing. I could not believe how fast they died. These paradrops have really been clutch for Ossama's defense. He has been having a lot of things to deal with, and the paradrops have just added a little bit of extra defense. We'll see. It's going to be a tank swap north and in the middle of the map. Prisms are here to try and hold off these rhinos, and it's a full commitment to the attack, but it's a full retreat from Ossama. There's going to be the shield on the MCV, and how many tanks will he trade as he exits?
Very nice force shield and he does choose to pull back with the Mirages and clean these up. I think that was the right decision. Beautiful force shield, really, really nice play, and Zedd certainly comes out of that one behind. Now without much to defend himself here, sentry guns, Desolators to the front lines, has to be so careful. These Mirages will melt in one Desolator for a second. So Zedd's certainly going to counter this one right. Zedd does have an Iron Curtain ready to go, but not many tanks to use it on.
We have kind of been downplaying the player who plays allies and saying that, you know, most players are Soviets, and so they're going to be more comfortable, and the Soviet players should have the advantage. But my gosh, these guys who play allies in this asymmetrical matchup like this have been doing phenomenally well.
Yeah, if you can make it past the early game. You know, we saw a couple where the Rhinos stormed downfield, right, and ended it in 30 seconds. The longer the game goes, the more the Allied arsenal opens up. You know, the aircraft, the Eagles, the late-game Eagles, the Battle Lab, the Mirages, the Prisms. But so that, yeah, this point in the game, that's why the Soviet player, it's so important to get that value early. Now, a defensive Iron Curtain going to force these Mirages back.
He trades out against a good number. Oh, the MCV packs up once again. It barely survives 1 HP, and the Iron Curtain finally expires, so these Rhinos are vulnerable. Once again, Flaks go down, but it's going to be the Desos as the defense. GG gets called. We go to the ace match for the second time.
So anyway, we'll cross our fingers here and play through the slideshow. It is match point here, 2-2, both players going Soviet. And so Zedd did win the first Soviet versus Soviet matchup. We'll see if Ossama can ride his momentum wave, though. 2 in a row now.
Yeah, Zedd won both of the mirrors, and Ossama won the non-mirrors. So now that we're back to a mirror, we'll see which way it goes. Zedd drops the battle bunker right at the beginning again. So a later war factory from Zedd. It doesn't seem to matter because he's got the sentry gun in the south.
Yeah, both players, these guys are so funny. You see the rocks I have, you see the hills to try to prevent building down here.
Right.
These guys, though, like, it's so hard to prevent players from, like, they always find a way. I do have it so you can't walk completely across the map. That's the main thing in Blitz. I don't like watching people, like, spam sentries into each other's bases, but they'll get as close as they can.
That is fun to see occasionally, but yeah, you definitely don't want that to be the meta.
That's the issue. If you allow players to do it, it's an every game kind of thing. So that's kind of where we're at with it now in Blitz. We had the early days of Blitz that were like that, sentry battles. So both players, lots of Rhinos, lots of fodder here. If they do engage, it'll come down to who can click the tanks better. Both players, I think, a little bit nervous about engagement. In lag, it can certainly feel a little random. So both players just a little bit passive here.
But if this game is anything like the last one, the lag will wait for a big battle to really kick in.
Which is weird, because then it does seem like it's more of a CPU issue, which, again, seems odd because I was playing this 20 years ago on my computer. But anyway, we'll make it happen here. Zedd, again, with a lot of sentry guns, a bunker, very, very defensive position, and
don't
here
engage.
It comes.
Don't engage. Just dance like you did in game number 1. Wait for the lag to finish itself out.
Yep.
Across the board, it feels like Zedd has been a bit more defensive-oriented. We've seen in multiple games extra sentry guns, battle bunker in the last game, and now in this one as well. He is a bit more of a prepper, and Ossama, I feel like, is the more, at least in some of these games we've seen today, the more traditional, like, you don't throw down the sentry guns until you need them.
Yeah, and that's generally a better idea, although you look at their economies and they're both fairly even. So, yeah, it is kind of odd to see that this much proactive defensive structures is interesting. And Zedd is in the top 12 Pro Division, but he's oftentimes kind of the underdog in those positions. So I think he's kind of accustomed to playing a little bit less orthodox. He's not just trying to win straight Rhino battles. He is trying to generally maybe mix things up and go tech, or involve his desolators, or just get a little bit weirder than some of these other guys who are very confident just with rhinos and dogs. And so we do see both players going to radar now. So very similar. Ooh, those lightning. Both players take a couple hit from the lightning there.
Zedd is the first one to pick up a couple of crates. Desos are out for Ossama, though. And both into like 4 War Factory radar. Battle Lab is out for Ossama.
Yeah, we'll see if he has the money for this, though. So now you see Ossama. If Ossama starts bottoming out, things can swing quick. And you're bottoming out, and you start slowing down production across the board. But Ossama was able to hang out there, and the Kirov coming now.
First couple of flaks are out. Sentry guns going to be trading against the Desos. 6K still in the bank for Zedd. It's disappearing, though. Naval Yard gets added on in mirror. Both of these guys almost exactly the same timing.
Yep.
Iron Curtain's very similar as well.
Kirov gets no value. Yeah, nice defense from Zedd there. So you see both players, looks like both players are building squids, it looks like, first. A good idea. If you bring out a first Dreadnought, it's just going to get squidded anyway. Squidded? Is squidded the right word there, Sybert?
Yeah, that's definitely the right word. I don't know how much we can talk about this without getting censored, but yeah, once you start saying I'm going to squid you, then people get worried.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll keep that to a minimum. All right, Dreadnought out. But it does get squidded.
Immediately just squidded right in the Dreadnought.
And so nice Iron Curtain advantage here for Ossama. Oftentimes in these matchups, it stays, if it is even like this for this long, oftentimes the first Iron Curtain can be that first thing that really tipped things here. A pretty good advantage on his timer here, about 20 real second advantage for Ossama. Big squid battle on the top side. Zedd with a group of drones ready to go as well.
Oh, drones jumping in, and most of them get demolished. Maybe a couple of infections, at least 2 Rhino tanks, it looks like, get infected. And Ossama is going to go for it. There's the Iron Curtain firing off, and he is committing full on to the attack. 10 seconds on the clock until the Iron Curtain returns.
Yep. And so he wants to click down the tanks.
Oh,
he does get the iron.
It.
Oh, and Zedd tried to use that Iron Curtain defensively and wasn't able to do it. Very, very close. Got his MCV, though. And the slideshow commences.
You might be right about it being CPU related, and in this case, it is just burning down these tanks as they are frozen in place for Ossama.
Yep, and Zedd comes out of that with a massive advantage there. That Iron Curtain, not quite able to get enough out of it now. So now we're going to see these desolators and drones from Ossama to try to slow things down. It's good, Desos and drones. Yep, gobbles those up. Desos and drones, you can slow things down, but it's hard for Ossama. You want to be looking for some kind of winning move, and it's going to be tough because he is severely out-tanked in this position.
I guess the longer this goes on, the better it is for Ossama, as long as he can hold on. His tank count is starting to grow. It's still a long way from that of Zedd. Kirov goes down, takes a couple of conscripts with him. More and more war factories getting added on for Zedd. His production must just be insane compared to Ossama's.
Yeah. When you take a look at these war factories, when you're on 3, 6, 7, the doors hardly even close. The rhinos are just driving straight out.
Yep. More
and
crates
so now
get added on.
drones to counter those Desolators, trying to clear things out. Zedd, it's kind of an annoying position for Zedd. He doesn't want to just recklessly charge into Desolators, but at the same time, it's kind of like quit, you know?
Iron Curtain on the Terror Drones. They're going to commit in. This is an attempt to even up the score and take down some of those tanks. Well, some of the dogs going down as well. And, well, what is Zedd going to do? For now, he's just going to be hanging out.
Ooh, and Zedd is eating quite a few drones right now. Yeah, those drones did get some work done.
Yeah.
Ossama's doing a good job catching himself up here. And those drones, that was a nice move from Ossama. Those drones actually, wow, I did not think that was going to be that effective. Oh, the Iron Curtain now from Zedd.
Finally fires it off. Now he's got a couple of invincible tanks. Going to be going for the nuclear reactor. Cleans that up. Low power mode. Gets the IC as well. Iron Curtain still active on the tanks. It just finally wears off as they commit to the MCV, and they do not get it.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, an absolutely devastating hit. That nuclear reactor has massive splash damage, as you saw there. Took a war factory, took the battle lab. Iron Curtain went down behind it. And with that, Ossama's chances of survival here kind of just slipping through his fingers. Still has a lot of war factories, but just severely out-tanked. Very, very tough spot.
He did a really good job to try and even things up. But ultimately, yeah. It's a tough spot to be in. Still struggling with that low power as well. Tanks going to be committed and surrounding and destroying. Zedd will take it. The GG gets called. It's a 3-2. Zedd claims the win.
Zedd closes it out here. Ossama hanging in there, but certainly the story of that series was pretty much Zedd all day there. Every single point, I think. But Ossama put on a little bit of a show for us there. I like that hold at the end. I like the Iron Curtain drones. Even though he was probably too far out of it, it's always good to try to make your opponent convert those positions and, you know, get the reps in. You know, if Zedd would have had 10, 15 less tanks, could have gone either way.
Once again, a big thanks to Ivor for hosting me for these games, and his stuff is in the description if you already missed it. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.